Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to talk about interesting exploitation tool, and it is BEEF framework. It is also known as the browser exploitation framework. So you can see that we have this little icon over here, and this is saying that it is a BEEF XSS framework, and you should have guessed that it has something to do with the JavaScript. So basically what we do is we have this JavaScript hook JavaScript file that will hook the client browser to our browser, which is Kali Linux browser. So this is a very important and exciting tool. So let's start. So first of all, let me just press here, that is the icon, and it will give you the terminal. And after you load that terminal, it is going to just bring us one basically a interface in the browser. So in my case, it is showing the authentication over here, and I have to give the username and password. So the username is BEEF and the password is also BEEF. So type that first, which is username and a password. So when I just log in, it is going to give us this interface. In your case, there won't be any online browser and there won't be any offline browser too, but in my case I have this online browser that is hooked to this Kali Linux. I'll show you in this and the next lecture how to just hook the browsers from the different method to our Kali Linux. So there is mainly three ways, but we are going to talk about one ways in this lecture. So first way is to just hook from the web browser. So basically what happens is, if you just go back to the terminal, and here is a hook script. So what we are going to do is basically we'll just inject this hook script in our terminal, or basically in our web page, so that anyone who will just visit that web page will be hooked to our this web browser. So this is the one way, and the second way is through the ARP poisoning, which is obviously the man in the middle attack. We'll just cover that in the next lecture, but for now you can see the one method is to just grab this script, and we'll just make changes because this is the local IP. So we have to just add our Kali Linux IP over here, and just we have to inject this code on our server so that anyone who visits that web page will be hooked to our browser. So this is the one way to do. So let's see how we can just perform this. So first of all, what you need to do is you have to go to your web server. So in my case, it is in var www and html. So go to this location, and after that I'll just open the terminal. Over here I want to just open this index.html, which is our HTML file, and this is my HTML file. You can see over here, and if you see, it has only the one heading, which is saying welcome to Hacker Worlds. So here what I want to do is I want to just copy this script, which is responsible to inject the hook to our browser web page, and let's copy this first. So in order to copy, you can simply copy from here, and after this center I'll just paste it down here. So you could see this is our IP, or basically this is the local host. So we have to change from this local host to this Kali machine IP. So let's go over here, and let me type ifconfig to get this WLAN 0 interface, and here I want to just copy this, which is basically the IP address of this Kali machine. So go over here, and you have to change the IP now. So I'll just say that now IP is 192.168.1.11. So this is the IP address of the Kali machine. You can clearly see over here. You can also use this interface of the Ethio0, which is this IP address, and now our web page is ready. So in order to save, just press Ctrl O and just hit enter, and Ctrl X to exit. So now we have saved our index file with the hook script. So anyone who visits this page will get hooked to this web browser now. So let's see how we can just hook now. So let me go to the client machine first of all, and make sure that web server is running in the Kali Linux. So in order to do that, you have to first type service and Apache to start. So this is the command to start your Apache server, and in my case I have already started, so I won't do this. So let's go in the Windows machine, and let's type the IP address of that Kali machine which has the hook script. So this is the IP address, which is 192.168.1.11, and you could see this has only this heading saying welcome to hacker world. But if you go back to this Kali machine, then you will see that in this browser you could see now there will be one online browser which is the same machine having the IP. So if I just go back to this window machine and let me just search here, that is ipconfig, then you could see the IP address is not showing here because this has this Ethernet adapter connected to this machine. So let me show you the IP address, ifconfig. Okay, what am I typing? ifconfig, ipconfig, not ifconfig, ipconfig, and you could see the IP address of this machine is the same which we have just hooked here. So let's go back to our Kali machine and see this browser. So in order to interact with this browser, you have to simply press on this IP address, and now it will just give you information about that. So you could see what is the browser version and everything. So in your case, you would see that the host name, operating system it is running, and the CPU and everything, the information that you need to just know information about that browser, because it is only the exploitation tool for the browser, but we can just make some payload that can be injected from this hook so that we have the whole access to that client computer. So next thing what I want you to do is go to this command section right next to that of log, and these are all the list of command that you can execute now on that Windows machine. So basically it is on the Windows machine and it is for the browser. So this will only be executed on the browser because this beef is a browser exploitation framework. So let's see what are the browser exploitation tool over here. So you could see that is webcam can also be opened, and you can see everything over here. So one interesting thing I can do here is let's redirect now. So let's search for this redirect, and if I press enter, then you could see that we have this information of saying that redirect browser, or basically all of this information. And I have told you before that go through this get started manual, and this has shown some of the lights over here showing that this information or this command has some mode of operation. Basically if you see this green, then this command is likely to work against the target, and it is having a high probability than these three. And if you see this orange one, this has more probability than of this white one, and this red one has less chance of working against the target. In our case it is window machine. So let's go again to the browser and let's go to the command again, and let's now use this redirect, which is one command. So you could see we have this redirect browser. Let's press this, and now you can just see that redirect URL over here. So I'll just make sure that we'll just pass here maybe facebook.com. So let's say facebook.com, and now this will be executed on the window if I just press here at the execute. So you could say at the right hand side corner you have this execute button. So let me just press that execute. Now let's go back to our window machine. Then you could see now Facebook page has been rendered. So this is the one way, or basically you can just hook that script now on this web page, and anyone who visits this web page will be hooked in your browser. So this is the one way which we normally do, and the next way is very important. We'll be covering that in the next lecture, which is done by the ARP spoofing, which we normally call as a man in the middle attack. So that would be interesting lecture, but for now let's try some of these attacks. So let's go back and let's see what we can do. So you can see here that we have this persistence. Let's go for the social engineering. Let's search for this pretty theft attack. This is my favorite one because this is going to show us information that the Facebook or any pages, or you can go here and see any of these LinkedIn, Windows, YouTube, and Yammer and iOS. session has been out, so it will just prompt you a tab asking that you need to enter that is a username and password because session has out, and in order to connect you have to just give the username and password. So let's execute it and let's show what I'm talking about. So let's execute here and let's go back to the window machine, and this was the same information I was talking about. So you can now enter that is your name over here, and let me say the password will be 787878. Let's log in and let's go back to our Kali Linux machine. You could see command 1 and 2 over here, so I'll just say command 2, and you could see this was the answer, which was username and a password right here. So you could get any information from this pretty thief if you want, maybe of the LinkedIn. Let's execute it and let's go back to our window machine, and it has shown that the session has timed out due to inactivity and something like that. You can type email, you can type your password. Let's sign in again, and you'll just get that information right in here. So this was your information about the username and a password. So you could clearly see we can now have control access to this client browser. You can also give maybe some of the update information, maybe this flash update information. Let's execute it. So here you have this option of custom payload, so you can just inject your payload over here, and this will run on the browser. So let's go over here and let's see, and it is not giving any information because it has this custom created this update message. So you can just make your own over here and show that message to the user. So you can do that, and you can also see the Google phishing and everything. So this is one type in order to just hook your browser to the client browser. So in the next lecture we'll also hook the client to this machine, but in the next way of man in the middle. So let's get into the next lecture.